Good morning from me, B. It is a Monday morning. It's a fresh start to the week, new opportunities, new adventures. Relatively good weekend in terms of weather for us. It's about the fifth or sixth day in the last 4 months that we've had some sun. Congratulations to all that took part in the London Marathon yesterday. From reports that they said it was one of the hottest London Marathons ever done. Having done the London Marathon several years ago, it's one of the best opportunities, the best experiences, and the best ways to see London itself. You certainly get to see a lot of the historic and more modern sites. If you haven't already, put it on your bucket list. It is open to all. It doesn't discriminate. The ballot itself does not decide your fate, your entrance, based on perhaps other social restrictions. I guess the same can be said about sport in general. It doesn't matter who you once were. Sport as a whole is an opportunity for you to develop into somebody. There is no need to become the next or have the aspiration to become the next Mo Farah, another Jess Ennis, or anyone else for that matter. You have the ability to reach a level of which suits you at that given time, suits the opportunities, the commitments, or the commitment I personally find is that what I find, and I think it's generic, universal, is that changes your general direction, outward projection on life. And for me, that's one of the most important things that sport gives, aside from identity, purpose, and obviously the extended wealth of health benefits. One of the biggest things, and I think one of the key things that certainly supports younger generation is their ability to understand their own potential. It's very rare, especially in this modern age with technology, the way that it is and how we've become so dependent on it, that our physical boundaries are pushed any kind of level of which actually supports any physiological growth and development. My role, my job, my career, for example, is predominantly based on sitting position behind a desk staring at a screen. Where possible, I get out. Where possible, I do the best I can. Resources, the time, the commitment to get out and experience and work with individuals on site. But logistically, for the majority of the time, it just doesn't make sense. So with the freedom and the accessibility that technology is offered, it is also allowed us to become relatively dormant. And I think for me, in my world, certainly London Marathon just highlights and should inspire others to get up and get out, and the benefits the true benefits, the assumed benefits, but the true benefits that offers. Certainly I see it a couple of weeks post marathon. You see some individuals who are inspired by it out running, training, saying to themselves that they're going to do it next. That's what it's all about. For me, the sport is saying, this is where I am. This is the very real potential for me or of me. This is something that I can actually achieve. Committing to it and then following through with the plan. In a roundabout way, I've arrived, I guess, the topic that I wanted to speak about, was at the forethought of my mind, which is planning. Now, in order for us to do anything, our morning routine, waking up in the morning, brushing our teeth, showering, eating our breakfast, process, if you have cereals in the morning, process of having cereals in the morning requires a plan, a structure, a formula, a process. And we are perfectly able to do that. Well, the same strategy, process, formula, thoughts apply to training for an event such as the marathon. Again, many people get put off when they look at the big picture, but chunking down to making cereals, they're able to do that. The same process applies. Find out what you need to do in order to open the fridge. Find out what cutlery you need, trainers, water bottles, energy fuels, what the process is. Applying online, registering for the ballot. Training is the constant feeding of cells. And then the completion is the empty bowl, the clean bowl at the end of dishwasher cycle, or if you're old school, doing it by hand. But in that as well, talking about the plan, it's key that when you commit to something, that you follow through with it. As I said the other day, if you're one of these individuals that says never again and goes back to, the brain has created this bad habit of making certain assumptions that whatever you say you're going to commit to do, you never follow through. Not only that, it's important that once you've defined a really clear plan, that you stick to it in terms of following through with every action that is required of you. If you've had a training program specifically written for you, then you need to follow every aspect of it. Otherwise there is limited ability to change it for the better or understand where it may or may not have failed or could be improved. Something I see with many elite athletes. They have a training plan, but certain phases universally will have a tolerance level, a level of which they assume incorrect. The level of commitment at the very beginning was not as important or is as important. You and I now, without any pressure applied, could probably assume that is incorrect, or that doesn't warrant, or isn't of true value. So the invitation for you today is to just think about how you put together your plans. Think about perhaps an alternative way of doing things. Perhaps think about tolerance levels you have allowed. Again, a topic that I've spoken about recently. At what level do you throw in a margin of acceptance? Or perhaps reflecting back, thinking of those times where you let things slip through maybe a negative thought process, maybe a time of which things weren't. Decision is ultimately now to make those changes, to change, make the commitment to never again, to work on becoming and being that better version of you.